Welcome to day 26 of our 30 days of PM journey, where we talk about principles and frameworks related to product management and things a product manager typically does as part of their job. So, our topic for today is related to OKRs, also known as objectives and key responsibilities, right? So, these are not really a product specific sort of terminology. The OKRs are essentially defined in organizations to tie the organization towards a specific objective, and through the key responsibilities that are defined you can understand how to reach that specific objective in hand, right? So that essentially is what OKRs are known as. Many organizations like it, some love it, some hate it. There are conspiracies as to how it can actually reduce the amount of work, or essentially the amount of growth or amount of output an organization can generate, because OKRs are defined, and defining and creating these in a sense takes a lot of time and wastes a lot of organization resources in order to build them, right? So Google actually is probably one of those who is part of the conspiracy, where Google is said to have introduced OKRs in order to work and tarnish in a sense for their competitors to actually spend times on OKRs while they develop and iterate and improve on their features and so on and so forth. So that's one of the things that goes on around in the industry about OKRs. But you also have the likes of Spotify, who actually don't really have abandoned the process of OKRs, because it is a lot of time taken to build such a process and go through that. And they uh, based on the nature of their product and the function or the industry that they deal with, a lot of these decisions when it comes to defining OKRs for the organization and then to the individuals is a lot of time taking process. And the nature of their business is dynamic, such that they have to make decisions every now and then, right? And have to move fast. So and the OKRs defined at like the start of the month don't really hold up after a quarter, because they're focused on some other things, right? So these are some sort of notions in the industry about OKRs in general, but they are a good process if you want to apply them on your personal sort of life, right? When it comes to achieving a specific objective, and then defining ways to achieve that objectives through key results, right? So in a sense, this image from What Matters essentially explains what OKRs are. OKRs are objectives and key responsibilities, and it's more a management sort of methodology which is used to ensure that the company focuses on a single goal, right? And they are focused towards the main goal that they have in mind. A lot of OKRs these days are to get to profitability, reduce churn and things like that. So if taking that as your objective, taking profitability as your objective, what are the key initiatives or results that you want to accomplish, right? And how you actually want to accomplish, right? uh, so OKRs, as you can see, it focuses on the how side of things than the why and the why sort of things, right? So once the why is cleared, OKRs come into place as to what do you actually need to achieve and solve for that why, and how are you going to solve for that why, or through these activities and through these sort of scenarios that you want to build. So as we told, key results are how you will accomplish, right? So there can be multiple key results that you want to achieve to eventually qualify your objective as being achieved or not, right? So OKRs can be quarterly, monthly basis, and can even be long term, or probably be tied to the mission and vision of the company, right? So that's how these are set into. So if you look at examples of how you can build these OKRs, so multiple scenarios can come into play. So for example, achieve fiscal sustainability is the main objective, right? So how do you achieve this sustainability? You probably reduce the general fund budget variance from 11% to 5%. You spend 95% of your authorized capital by the end of the fiscal year in order to achieve the sustainability, and use that and spend the dollars from prior fiscal years in order to achieve sustainability of your fiscal, right? So this is one sort of OKR that you can define based on an objective and a series of steps, those which get into your as key responsibility items to actually becoming like to-do list items that you need to check off in order to make the decision and achieve the objective that you have set in place. Another example is the objective here is to create the lowest carbon footprint in our industry. So how can that be achieved, right? Improving supply chain is one of that. Paying 100% of the offset of your carbon used, right, and emissions used, and paying for that. Making your materials compostable, right, recyclable, right, and biodegradable. 70 making 75% of your materials used as biodegradable. So these are some steps that you can take, and key responsibilities that you need to achieve, and key results, sorry, not responsibilities, key results that you want to achieve in order to get to your objective and among that result. So there are multiple examples. These can be personal OKRs as well. Run a 10k marathon, 10 kilometers in under 15 minutes by June. How do you do that? Practice for multiple months. Increase the distance by 1 mile, so take incremental steps, and increase the speed of your runs, right, by 5 seconds every week. So these are some of ways. There can be multiple types of OKRs. These can be committed or aspirational. Committed are more in the sense of commitments that you make over a period of time, right? So passing through a grade, getting the right marks, improving health, reaching sustainability, reaching financial freedom. Whereas aspiration are much longer, or probably you could call them moonshots, and these are much more longer terms, right? So like we've told, financial freedom is not really something you can commit or do within a year. These are long shot or moonshot sort of attempts that you aspire to achieve. And to achieve this objective of financial freedom, you probably put a few key results set in place. Probably have x amount of money in the bank, invest y amount of money, and always have a source of passive income and things like that, right? Which can help you achieve financial freedom as your objective through the key responsibilities and key results that you have set in place. So this is how OKRs come into play. We've seen multiple organizations use this OKR in example of Duolingo, and how they built out OKRs for a specific feature of their stories section, and how they did the user research, and in order to make stories their best product possible. One of their key, for example, results they wanted to achieve was to talk to number of users, understand their pain points, document their pain points, right, and then iterate and improve and enhance their product. So this is how OKRs are used in a traditional sense. They can be committed over a specific period of time, or more aspirational for a longer period of time as well. So this is a great resource when it comes to OKR. These can be top down, bottom up OKRs. A lot of the times OKRs are advised to be set by individuals within the organizations, instead of coming directly from the leadership or the management. But ideally they are defined defined for management leads and roles and leadership teams, and then trickle down further to also be part of the key objectives that an individual needs to contribute to, right, as an organization, so that their individual goals and individual objectives are also tied to the business objectives and the organization objectives over a period of time. Another great example resource recently from the product folks, where they talk about how you can build OKRs for short term and sort of long term product vision sort of goals that you want to achieve. So let's look at that and get understanding of what actually do they mean when they look at product visions and short-term targets that you want to achieve, where the short-term targets are for a shorter period of window, whereas product visions is at the longer ends of things, right?
Of building great products. And that's a tension, but an important relationship between the product vision, which is an ambitious outcome, which could take many months or even years, and our quarterly or monthly goals, which are our tactical short-term targets. And so once you've mapped out your North Star vision, once you've sequenced out your features into a clear roadmap, then you need to determine what are the goals. And there's multiple ways to define goals. Here, I'm using OKRs. OKRs, objectives and key results, are one of the most popular way to define goals. And essentially, the objective and the key results serve two different but important purposes. Objectives are defining, what is the achievable aspiration for the team, and key results are defining what are the quantifiable metrics that indicate that we've actually made progress towards that aspiration. And so the next step in the process for us was to say, we now know we need to build out the enhanced save to trip feature, and we need to define our OKR for the next quarter. So the team went through this process of North Star vision, prioritize roadmap, and now needs to define what are the OKRs for TripAdvisor's first quarter of building out this trip planning functionality. And that first quarter is going to focus on saves. And so we knew we need to increase awareness and usage of saves, increase users' investment into TripAdvisor, use saves in the app to drive push notifications and to drive repeat engagement, and to understand the causal relationship between saving and retention. And so an exercise for you is to answer, how would you define the OKRs for the Save to Trip feature?
So yeah, in this context, they're talking about a specific feature within the TripAdvisor platform. But as you can see, they talk in great detail about how, when they have a specific goal to achieve, how they define OKRs for that specific goal, and then look at the key elements in order to achieve that, right? So objectives need to be actionable, impactful, casual, and relevant towards the goal that you want to reach, whereas the key results to achieve the objective need to be quantifiable, which means it can be measured through analytics and platforms that you use. They need to be absolute, and 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 have to be leading indicators when building, right? So rather than trailing indicators, you want leading indicators that define, for example, the growth or the specific feature that you want to build or enhance, right? So in this case, they are looking at save to trip and enhancing that existing feature. But in order to even enhance, they have serious and specific objectives that they want to achieve, and the key results that help them achieve this key objective. So yeah, this is an example of OKRs and how you can use that. Another great resource where they talk about OKRs is, and how to build, for example, OKRs for a specific resource. In this case, for example, a gym in a city. But yeah, let's look at that and also understand OKRs in different scenarios.
Hi, it's Jordan again with another example. Let's take a look at the development process of an objective and its corresponding set of key results, and try to determine whether or not it's going to be an effective OKR. Okay, so this time we're going to imagine that you are the manager of an aging gym downtown, and that it has seen several quarters of declining membership. Younger professionals in the area are choosing to just use the fitness facilities in their modern, amenity-rich apartment buildings. And longtime members are starting to notice the wear and tear on the equipment, and that they might be getting a better value at gyms that have more perks. You're working hard to build a set of top-level OKRs that will solve the issue. It seems like a lot of the complaints from the members are about the condition of the equipment. So you take a look at your blank sheet of paper and you write, replace all the equipment. Okay, so let's think about it. Replacing all the gym equipment, that would certainly be a large undertaking and would represent change from where you are today, but would that actually solve the problem of declining membership? Maybe not, probably not, and it also doesn't really seem incredibly audacious or inspiring. Okay, so let's try again. We're gonna write, make our gym the best place in the city to work out. Is it meaningful? I'd say so. I mean, if we have the best place in the city to work out, then we definitely won't have any problem attracting new customers. And also, by placing the focus on the quality of the experience of the customer, that's really helping us determine where we should focus our energy. Is it audacious? Well, being the best gym in the city, that's definitely something to aspire to. Is it inspiring? Totally. I mean, this can guide our actions, and it could be a rallying cry for everyone from the front desk attendees to the personal trainers. Okay, so next we have to consider our key results, or how we're going to become the best place in the city to work out. Can we offer a greater range of weights? Yes, sure, that's easy enough to do, but it might only attract a certain type of customer. Maybe we could give bonuses to employees who sign up more customers. That's not a bad idea, but it kind of puts the emphasis more on sales and becomes a tactic. And what we're talking about is really focusing in on the customer experience. All right, so what about upgrading all of the cardio equipment within the next 3 months. Now we're getting somewhere. The cardio machines are the most used machines in the building, so customers will definitely notice if they've been improved. Is this key result specific and time bound? Yes. We know there are 12 machines, so we're going to have to budget to upgrade all of them over the next quarter. Is it aggressive yet realistic? Yes, definitely. It's going to be a bit of an undertaking to replace all of those machines in one quarter, but with some creative budgeting and also maybe buying some lightly used pieces from our supplier, I think we're definitely going to be able to make it work. Is it measurable yet verifiable? Yes. There are 12 machines and they either get replaced or they don't. Good. Good objective, good key result. And we finish out our set of key results with these. We're going to conduct a customer satisfaction survey every month for the next 3 months. And over that time, we want to see a 15% increase in customer satisfaction. We're also going to hold monthly customer appreciation events where we give away gym swag and we hold raffles for free personal training sessions. All right, there we go. A solid objective and a great set of key results to go with it. It's going to tell us where we're going and exactly how we're going to get there.
So yeah, I think this is a great experiment for you to look at. For example, in this case, it was upgrading the gym and improving the customer experience within the gym, and the key responsibilities came out to actually providing better, I mean, accommodation and better usage of the facilities within the gym, right? So this is how you can
Yeah,
build,
replace,
for
but
example,
with
your, I mean, enhance your gym and make your gym the best within the city. And some, because it's actionable, it's aspiring to build something of that sort, all your actions and results to achieve are also tied to the goal. So this is how you can build great OKRs. But let's look at the other side of things, where not all organizations rely on these OKRs and go through the process of building these OKRs, right? So when it comes to, for the example, let's go through OKRs for Spotify, right? And this is a blog where they highlight why individual OKRs don't really work, right? So individual OKRs, for example, slow down without adding value, because at a corporate level, when visualizing objectives for individuals uh, and getting everyone to move in the same direction, they change because the corporate structure is nimble, our priorities change, and things that need to be taken action upon change at a fast pace across verticals and across your hierarchies within the organization. So such that it's not worth the effort to build OKRs at an individual level, right? And because it turned out the the ones that made the most sense on the individual didn't really change within the direction of that took each month, right? So a lot of the times there was not sync between the objectives defined and the individual goals and the monthly goals that the organization is trying to achieve. So OKRs are about the how, our focus is on the why. So as Spotify is an organization, they focus, and mostly most product organization focus on the why over the what and how. So that's why OKRs become a process that is not really worth spending the time and effort on. Based on that, our teams individually handle the how themselves. So they leave the teams to take care of how they want to build or handle the specific request for the product, whereas where instead of, and focus on the why to begin with over the hows and the whats, right? So shit in shit out, which essentially talks about the OKR process, right? And we noticed that we were putting energy into a process that wasn't really adding value. So they decided to ditch it and focus on context and priorities instead, where we make sure everyone knows exactly what we are going and what the current priorities are and are fixed towards that goal. So instead of building OKRs for individuals and for the organization, they provide context on what is the priority at the moment and put everyone and make everyone focus on the priorities and take action on those over individual objectives that everyone is trying to achieve and swimming in different directions over the instead of in the same direction, right? As an organization, you want to keep everyone focused on the same goals, and OKR sometimes can be a lot of time taking process, and not really focusing on the why, as we talked, for specifically a product organization. And a series of these events and scenarios led Spotify to actually ditch OKRs to in over focusing on just the current priorities at the period of time. So this is that's an example of Spotify. Another from Amazon, and how they use, for example, their working backwards technique, which essentially is a great book. You can also look at this book called Working Backwards, which talks about how Amazon, for example, looks at and works on things from backwards, right? Instead of looking at the solutions and potential things to do for solving a problem, they look at and solve for things in a backward fashion. So they probably, when building a feature and starting building a feature, they create a press release and an FAQ document to begin with, and then work backwards towards the problem and the potential ways to solve for that problem. So a press release gives them an idea of how eventually the product will be presented to the customers, and how they can build and add features accordingly, right? So there are multiple chapters within this book, but yeah, a great book from executives at Amazon, which gives you insights, stories, and secrets from inside Amazon, and how they work, and how they don't really have a concept of presentations. They prefer memos and written page documents, as mentioned here. For example, Jeff Bezos, the no slides deck, and instead have a memo requirement where at the start of every meeting they read and go through the document. And and where in presentations a lot of times teams get interrupted when trying to explain and ask for a question which is actually answered in the later slides, but with the memo being available and being read to begin at the start of the meeting, a lot of the questions in mind of users can actually be answered probably in page 2 or page 4 of the document, right? So this is how Amazon doesn't really rely and have like an alternative approach when it comes to OKRs and handling meetings, uh, and organizing features and taking decisions in general, where they look at document and force on a writing culture which makes you think a lot more. And even when it comes to after the reading phase is done, as part of the meeting, they start from the user who is the least in their hierarchy, right? So we don't really start the CEO, or Jeff Bezos actually talks towards the end, where he lets all of his other teammates from the junior most level to then proceed to the senior most level and let everyone speak, and then have like the final say of things, right? From all the points that have been brought out. So this gives everyone to talk and have a say within the meeting, and improve your product and take the right decisions for the organization. So yeah, this is another process levied by Amazon over like the OKR sort of approach. And then using the OKR framework, these are examples of the anti-OKR sort of squad, which relies on other techniques that they feel better suit their organization. But when it comes to OKRs, right? So a lot of the times these are set from leadership teams. For example, as you can see within this image, these are set at an enterprise level, at a business unit objective level, and then at a team objective level, right? So you create for the organization, then you create for a business unit or a segment or a category or a function of the organization, and then for the teams for that specific function of that organization, right? And then for each of these objectives, for different levels of hierarchies, you create responsibilities for each of them, which tie down and make everyone focused towards the same goal for a long period of time period, right? So a lot of times OKRs are reviewed, you do a deep dive and make sure that they are ambitious enough and actually achievable, and not really something that you just do as a process to write things down and forget about them later. But these are a ways for you to recenter or align your focus towards the goal, if for example you have diverted to a different path, right? Whereas there are also difference, there is another sort of terminology called KPIs, which are key performance indicators. A lot of the organizations actually switch between OKRs and KPIs heavily, but KPIs also is a very popular sort of technique and methodology used to understand key performance indicators of an individual primarily, and then towards the team and the function and the organization as a whole, right? So There are differences between both of them. KPIs and OKRs both flow from the management, but OKRs also incorporate significant frontline input, whereas KPIs keep try to have help and keep the business in track, right? On track. So that's essentially the key difference when it comes to KPIs. Both are used in their own ways, but as KPIs is out of scope, we'll discuss about that in a separate video. But yeah, these are some essential things when it comes to OKRs, and understanding how to leverage them to create commitments and goals for your organizations to achieve, keep everyone aligned, and have mechanisms to look at and define and build and focus on the key results that can help achieve the objective for a committed period of time or for a moonshot long period of time. Can be for personal or also for business goals. But yeah, it's a great practice to actually keep for you to practice on understanding what actually do you want to target and work towards, right? So ideally we just focus on the next thing at hand, but OKRs give you an opportunity to think longer term when building moonshot sort of approaches for an organization, and think both in a scale of window towards the shorter run for a quarter, for a month, but also on the longer side for 5 years, and uh, on a broader horizon, right? So that is the advantage of KPIs, and not really KPIs, but KPIs will help you to keep on track and stay on track, whereas OKRs are much more broader organization focused, right? So that's how you can build and look at these uh, OKRs and define them for your organization and for an individual themselves, and grow your organization product from there. So yeah, that's about OKRs and how you can build them. We also covered about what are the advantages and why some organizations have different techniques over OKRs and do not really prefer OKRs as a way to define enterprise objectives and individual objectives, and rather focus on priorities for the moment based on the fast-paced movement within startups and product organizations. But yeah, I think that's about it. We've looked at multiple examples of how you can build these OKRs, define these OKRs, and take action upon them. Depends on the organization and the style of how you manage and uh, build and work on your products and your organizations. But yeah, I think we'll talk about another topic tomorrow. Look at another more frameworks around product management and how you can use these frameworks at a personal capacity and also at an organization and professional capacity to, grow in the product management journey and essentially in your organization journey as well. But yeah, that's about it. See you tomorrow. Thank you for joining. Take care, and all the resources will be linked within the description, and you can take a look at that. So, have a great day. Bye.